Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches. Here, it occurs, there's a cat up here. It occurs to me that I don't know if I said my name last time. Anyway, this is Flosstube number 50. Thank you to my returning subscribers for continuing on with me, and welcome to any new viewers. This is, like I said, Flosstube number 50. Today is Saturday, March 2nd. Wow, it's already March. And I'm here to update you on my cross-stitching and a few other things. So let's just get right into it. I'm still working on my Stitch 9 projects. I've finished a couple of them. And I'm moving on with Christmas Penguin. I talked about this last time. I did a little bit more. Actually, his little body is almost done. His scarf is almost done. I have to do, these squares I think they're all in green. So he's, it alternates red and green, Merry Christmas on there, and then I have to like backstitch to connect the letter, to make the letters and everything. But you can see I've done a little bit of fill in the red here. I think I've done all the red. So all these blank empty squares are all gonna be green. But I finished the fringe on his scarf and his little I guess it's a tie from his hat. So the blank squares in his hat are going to be white, and down underneath this is his wing, and this right here is he's carrying a letter, and then his feet go down here, and then there's some snow. So the missing squares up here on his little pom-pom on his hat are white, areas of white, but his hat is mostly done, and his little body. So the letter that he's carrying is white, and then his feet are orange and gold, so those have to be done, and then all the snow on the bottom. So this is my progress so far on my Christmas Penguin. This is good because I've had it for a little more than a year, and haven't made much progress until just now. This last couple weeks, so he's coming along very nicely. This is what he's supposed to look like. So yeah, I just have this letter and his feet and the snow, and then the white areas here and here on his pom-pom, and then the rest of the lettering on his scarf. And then all the backstitching, of course. There's not a whole lot. It's mostly outlining his hat and his scarf and his feet, his face a little bit. So anyway, that's coming along. And then speaking of my Stitch 9 things, one of the things that's happening this week is Michelle BendyStitchy is her birthday's coming up, and so she's doing a birthday sal over 3 days, March 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that's next week, this coming week, so she issued I should put some challenges on for each day. So and I'm going to go ahead and participate in that, I think. So for her birthday sal, March 8th is stitch on something with a bee. And so I'm using Eeyore, my Eeyore pattern, which is part of my Stitch 9, because there are, so as you can see here, there's some bees in it. So Eeyore and the bees. And this is the progress that I made so far. So he's this part of his body, his tail, his nose. So, and the grass he's sitting on is complete, and the lower part of his body. So what remains is his upper body, and of course the bees and his face. So that's B. And then the 9th is stitch on something with an S. So I'm, excuse me, just 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. So on the 9th, you're supposed to stitch on something with an S. And so I thought that would be a good reason to bring out Santa's House, which is part of my Stitch 9, which I'm way behind on. When I was working on it, I was working on it intermittently because I had all my other Christmas stuff that I was working on. So I only ever did the outline some of the rooms, and I worked on this little snowman in the corner. So Michelle's birthday sale is a good motivator to get me to work on this some more. This fabric is it's even weave, I think, and it's, I want to say coffee dyed by me. Sorry, I'm pulling cat hair off. Coffee dyed. By me a long time ago. I don't even remember. Okay, and then on the 10th is she had originally was thinking either something BS, BendyStitchy, something that makes you say, oh, that's BS, or something that is very BendyStitchy and is like a gift. And so I think she settled on the gift idea. She encouraged the gift idea. And so that brings me back to the Christmas penguin. And I don't think I'll be done with it by then, you know, because there's a lot of snow involved. But so then this is a gift from my nephew, Eli. So, oops, that's upside down. There. This is a gift from Eli, my nephew Eli. So this is my gift choice for herself. So then, oops, this is a big mess I've got going on here. Okay. So, I'm looking at my notes, sorry. Oh yeah, okay. So the other thing is, part of my Stitch 9 that I had finished was the sparkling grapes and the and this violet pillow. I think it was part of the pillow was part of my Stitch 9, yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah. So I think earlier I posted that I had finished all the stitching, and I had a major issue with the sparkling grapes thing, because originally this is the sparkling grape, sorry. This was charted for 14 count Ada, black Ada. And I thought, well, I've got black Ada. And, but it was 16 count. And I didn't think about the size difference. And I think it's that difference in size. And it's not much, but I think it's enough that, and maybe it's the way I cut it that made a difference. I don't know, but it's too small. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my embroidery scissors. Hold on. Okay, so, you know, this is your typical scissors, embroidery scissors, right? These are just from Hobby Lobby that I got at some point. So this little scissors case, this is supposed to go in there. As we say in my family, me queda, it doesn't fit. Right? This is supposed to go over like that and close and make little grapes, right? Doesn't fit. It's too long, and the grips are too wide. And so I didn't know what to do. excuse me, I'm falling off the thing. So, so a couple of people suggested stuffing it, make it into a little fob. And I almost did that because the other issue I had with it was how to close it. The instructions come with a list of materials that you need to make it, you know, this way, the cord and the tassels and all that. And on that list are those adhesive Velcro dots. And I'm a little reluctant, you know, especially, you know, around stitching and stuff like that, using Velcro, because you end up with, you know, Velcro attracts, you know, any kind of lint or threads, and threads are, you know, part and parcel of what we do, right? So I could see it getting full of, you know, threads and lint and whatever, and, you know, eventually losing its stickiness, you know, its hookiness, because all Velcro does eventually. And as I'm fond of saying, Velcro is of the devil. Plus, you know, they're adhesive dots, and I thought, well, you know, they'd probably need to be reinforced with all the pulling that you might do on a scissors case. But anyway, so what I ended up doing was, and also because this area above the grapes where you're supposed to put the Velcro, I assume, because it's not listed in the instructions on how to, you know, what to do with the Velcro. But I assume it goes, you know, here at the top of the grapes and on this lid. So as you can see, I used a snap instead, because you can. It's a little bit more positive closure, and, you know, and it's easily undone. It's not something that requires a lot of force, you know, to pull it. So so yeah. So then, but the issue was that it's not big enough, and I didn't know what to do, and then I realized that one pair that I own, and I don't have it handy here, but one pair that I own is foldable, and it folds up real tiny. And I thought, well, that, you know, I checked them, and it fits. My folding scissors fit very nicely. They're old and beat up and everything else, and I wouldn't, you know, give them away to anybody. But so I thought, well, you know, I know I bought them at Hobby Lobby or someplace, so should they have some? These are little folding scissors. And I found them at Hobby Lobby. And they're TSA compliant, but they just, excuse me, while I fold them out, they fold out into, sorry, regular size scissors. They're TSA compliant, I guess, because they're kind of blunt on the tip here. But they fold up very nicely. Oopsie. Fold up very nicely. There. They have a little hook eye on the end, so they fit in this little scissors pouch very nicely, and you can close it. So I solved the problem. The other issue is this little cord. This is a tassel. It's just in the sleeve because I didn't want it to get messed up. But yeah, so my sewing skills leave something to be desired, but, you know, it's done. So my sisters and I debated about this cord because it's like, why is it there? And I'm assuming it's so that you can wear it around your neck. I guess if you're working on something, you could, you know, there's your scissors right there. I don't know. You can hang it from something, I guess, and the tassel is just there for pretty, I guess. But anyway, that's the Saga of my SAG Stitch and Give thing for Stitchnanigans. So that's what this is for. This scissors case. And I made a little, I don't want to, I'm giving everything away, I guess, the idea, but it's, you know, it's not a state secret. But I made a little fob to go on the scissors. Boop. There's an elephant. Phantastitches. So, so there's the sparkling grapes thing with the scissor fob. That took a lot of, that gave me a headache. Because this has been done for a while, just, you know, FFOing it, you know. So the other thing I did, was the sparkling grapes, excuse me, golly, the violets. I had originally intended it for my sister's mother-in-law, but for various reasons, I think I'm not going to do that for her. But so I had it finished, and I wanted to FFO it anyway. And so, so I made this little pillow out of it. I had this lace that I had bought. This was originally supposed to be the sachet pillow. This was from an old magazine, right? So these, I guess, came from Charles Craft, these little sachet totes. I'm going to fold this down this way. You know, I wasn't going to go looking for that. This magazine is from June of 2009. So, yeah, you know, 10 years ago. I don't know if they even make those still. If they have them, they don't have them at Hobby Lobby, which is where I was, you know, shopping. So, but this was originally charted for, I think, like 14 count Ada. I'm pretty sure. But I used Hardinger, which is 22 count, which is very tiny, but it came out pretty good. So this is Hardinger that I berry dyed. And actually, it's funny because, like, when I was preparing this piece to make into this little pillow, I was ironing it and everything, and when you iron it, these little spots from the berry dye darkened up, and then they would fade again as it cooled, you know. So that's kind of funny. But anyway, so I had this lace that I bought for the because I was gonna try to make a bag out of it, and so I sewed it on here as trim instead, and I had this button, little purple button. There's a cat hair on here. I tried to clean it up as best I could last night, but I guess I missed it. Anyway, I bought this purple fabric to go with it, because it's about the same shade, kind of, as the purple in the violets here. So it came out pretty good, despite my sewing and stuffing skills that leave a lot to be desired. But, yeah, I like that. It came out pretty nice. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It might go in my giveaway bag for the retreat, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but there it is. So this little fabric was part of the haul that I had. I think I bought it just this past week, I think. I went to Hobby Lobby a couple times. When I went to look for the scissors, I found the scissors just this week. Those little scissors for the grapes. So while I was there is when I bought that purple fabric, and then also this past week I went. My sister needed to buy some things at Hobby Lobby again, so I went and spent a little bit of money there. So I bought a few variegated flosses from DMC. These the ones that they've come out with recently. I don't have any immediate plans for them, but I just picked colors that I liked, um, and I thought I would experiment with them at some point. So I don't know. I just bought those, and I bought some more bobbins, and because I bobbinate, and I bought these little things. They're like kind of like thimbles, but they're kind of like grabbers for needles, whatever, so you can pull needles through, especially heavier fabrics or harder fabrics. And if I thought about it, I would have used them yesterday when I was sewing. This little pillow kind of gave me a lot of grief. I don't have a sewing machine. Um, my older sister has one, but it's not working for some reason. And my younger sister has one, but having time to go to her house or whatever, it's a hassle. So I sewed this by hand, and sewing is not my strong point. It took me a long time to do that. I spent all day yesterday. On Fridays, I like to participate in the Friday off the grid thing, and that's stitchy time, yay! But I spent all day, with except for a lunch break and dinner break. I spent all day working on that pillow, cutting it out, sewing it, ironing it, whatever, and you can't tell. But right at the very end, I had a little, well, maybe you can tell, I don't know. I had a little disaster right here. You can kind of see the, I was ironing, I was giving it one last press, and I accidentally touched my iron on the lace here and kind of messed it up a little bit. True confession. Can't, at first glance you can't really tell, but the more you look at it, it does not bear close inspection. And you can feel it, definitely. You can kind of feel the stiffness there. But, I sort of repaired it a little bit. Anyway, there it is. Well, I was talking about haul. So I got the DMC, I got the thimble things, I got some bobbins. And the thing I spent some money on was this DMC card. This is not the fancy one with the real thread in it. But, it's the different colors and everything. And so I figured that would come in handy. So what else do I have? Oh, my future plans. I've been thinking about, I went through all my stash and my patterns and everything and my fabric, and I was kind of, trying to see what I had, what the stitch count was for my various patterns, and what I might need and what I might have. And I haven't, matched everything up, of course, yet. But I ran across a few things where when I went back to all my patterns and got the stitch count for various things. I didn't count things like magazines, or if I had booklets that had 25 projects or something like that. I didn't count those things, but just individual charts. I went back and so I could see if do I have the fabric for this? Do I need the fabric? Can I substitute what I have for something that for what's called for or whatever? So while I was doing that, I thought, I came across some that of course, some that I liked. I have some la-di-da patterns that I bought that I want to do. All kinds of stuff that I want to do. Of course, otherwise, why would I have it, right? If I didn't want to do it. Anyway, but I got to thinking, I had started thinking about this. A couple of people are working on Ronnie Rowe programs, patterns. And so I went to go check out Ronnie Rowe because this was a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, that somebody had mentioned it. And so I just went to look at it, at his site. And so I was, scrolling through the various patterns, and one set of patterns that he had to do with tall ships, masted ships. And so there was one there that I liked, that I am thinking about getting. But anyway, that was in the back of my mind. And so when I was going through my charts and getting stitch counts and stuff, some patterns stood out to me. The reason was that one of the one piece of fabric that I had written on there, excuse me, that it was for the Constitution. I wrote on there, or Ironsides or something like that. So I knew I had the pattern for it, and so when I was looking at it, I was trying to decide which one did I mean. It's in this Tall Ships and Seascapes. So this is the Constitution, and then this is called Running with the Wind. So I didn't know if I was planning on doing this one or planning on doing this one. And while I really like the Constitution, I went to go see the Constitution when my little sister was in college. This would have been probably 1990. She was doing her senior recital in March, and I couldn't go to her. She was going to graduate in May, and I could not go to the graduation because I had a concert. So I went in March instead, and up to her senior recital, and I actually played on the encore on her senior recital with my future brother-in-law. Anyway, so one of the things I did while I was out there was we went on a little tour of Boston, and one of the stops was at the Constitution, and so we got off there and we took a tour of the Constitution. It was great. It was freezing cold, but it was great. But so we toured the Constitution. So I've always there's I haven't done any of this in cross stitch, but I've always loved tall ships. I love them. I've read Moby Dick. I've read this book called Master Mariner. I've always loved them, and so that's why I got this pattern. So I don't know if I'm going to do the Constitution because this is not it's an okay chart, but I like this one better. So this one I'm going to do definitely. This one maybe, but then also. I got this one that I think I showed it before that my sister gave me, and there's a clipper ship, their old clipper ship it's called. So I think I'm going to do this one as well. And then I had an old pattern for this one, which is Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, the three ships that Columbus sailed. And so I think I'm going to do this one. This is a bigger chart. Calls for a bigger piece of fabric. So and it's got some Krynic in it, and then there's a couple of I think these maps. It's supposed to be the New World and the Old World. Europe and the Americas, I guess. I think, as I recall. I think these are done in. I think they're done in half stitch. I think. And then the rest of this is and it's I don't remember if it's full coverage or not. No, it's not. But so yeah, there's that one. And then, like I said, then the Ronnie Rowe. So that would be, I think, a total of Is it 4? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 or 5, depending on whether or not I do that Constitution one. Excuse me, I'm about to lose my shirt here. So, excuse me. So I have some fabric that I have to. I sort of. Well, it'll sort of fit, but it kind of depends on the size of the Ronnie Rowe ship that I haven't looked into yet. But so I have, this is a light blue even weave that I bought at some point, and I have a white one, right? And then I have this piece of even weave, which is 30 by 36, and then this Belfast linen 32 count. These are all the even weaves are 28 count, and this is 36 count, this Belfast linen, and it's 18 by 27. So for the Voyage of the Santa Maria, the Voyage of Discovery chart, I need a larger piece, like about I want to say it's bigger than 15 by 18. It's like maybe 16 by 20 or something like that. It's larger. And I don't know how big the Ronnie Rowe piece is. I didn't look at the stitch count on that. So, but I want to do all of those things separately, but I want to finish them all. So it's kind of a tall order. Tall. It's kind of a big order because each one of those charts is pretty involved and pretty big. So all of that white fabric that I have, except for the Voyage of Discovery, because it's not full coverage, so I'm not sure, because it's like part of it is, I think it's supposed to be the sky. So I haven't decided yet. I have to look more closely at the colors involved and the colors that it calls for, the background color, the fabric, excuse me, that it's called for. But what I'm thinking of is I have this dye in evening blue, and so I'm thinking that maybe I'll dye all that white fabric with that dye and see what I can come up with to use for those, to unify those ship patterns. And the blue even weave I might use for one of those. It just depends on the stitch count involved and everything to see. But anyway, so I think those are my plans for this year. But in addition to the Stitch 9 challenge, I want to get at least get started on those projects to see what they entail. Maybe, I don't know, if I want to do all of them, but you know. So anyway, that's my plans for the year, I think. That brings me to the final thing, if I can find it. Hold on, 1 second. I thought I had it here. Yeah, I do. The giveaways that I did the giveaway that I did last time. This is going to Glow in Stitches. She was the only one who requested it. This is the butterfly kit, so I'm sending this to Glow in Stitches. So if you'll send me your address, and I'll put my email address down below when I in the notes for this video. But it's basically just Vanagray at gmail.com. And then so I thought I would do another giveaway because I can. This wedding, it's called Wedding Remembrance, and it's patterns for wedding invitations. So you get the pattern for this border, or this border, or you can do this border. This is it's really it's the little top motif, and there's a little motif at the bottom, and this chart gives you lettering, wording, um, as well as like placement ideas for all of those two different invitations. And I'm going to show a little bit of the chart just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So those lines are placement. The border, you can do the different borders, but the idea is the same for the listing. It is, you center the bride's parents' names, Mr. and Mrs. John Smith, whatever. Request the honor of your presence at the marriage of their daughter, Jane Smith, to whatever, Joe Jones. Center the groom's name, center the day and month, center the year, center the time, center the location, center address, center city and state. So you get a backstitched kind of alphabet along with, it says like, the stitching for, the instruction pattern for Mr. and Mrs., for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., for the days of the week, the months of the year. This is 1900, and but anyway, these words all written out, the 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, afternoon, or evening. So the alphabet is there for for you to use for names and dates and times and whatever. But the written out 1, 2, 3 written out words are in there as well. So you can personalize the invitation, but so you can it's a nice way to stitch out an invitation, a version of the invitation that you might send out on paper to people. But this is a stitched version to use as a sort of wedding remembrance, as it says, to hang on the wall, to remember the wedding time or day. Like this one down here is a picture of the bride and groom across from a stitched version of their, wedding announcement, whatever. So anyway, so like I said, this is the giveaway. So for all the rules apply. Don't say the word giveaway. If you want this, just make a comment. I'd like to stitch the wedding invitation. So like I said, if Glowing Stitches, if you'll send me your information, I'll put my email address in the notes below. Oh, and speaking of giveaways, I actually won a giveaway. I had entered my name as part of Arlene Piquet's Kitchen Stitchers thing. She on her video, she gave away a couple of patterns by Just Nan. One was a hedgehogs, and one was a little Christmas stocking, and I had won the hedgehogs. Hedgehog, I should say. That's really cute pattern. And I had forgotten that I had entered that giveaway. It's I have so many Flosstube videos to watch, and I had kind of put it off, and I thought, oh yeah, I need to watch that, and I won the giveaway. I never win those things. I enter them on occasion. But I never win anything. It's but it was great. It was great. So I won the giveaway. So I'm looking forward to receiving that. And like I said, I'm sending out the butterflies pattern to Glowing Stitches. And I wanted to mention, it was weird. I don't think I've ever, I remember my dreams pretty often. There's some that I remember from when I was a kid. I remember them like they're like little mini movies, kind of, the way I remember them. But I don't know that I've ever dreamed about cross stitch before, but I did the other night. I dreamed, and I don't remember exactly what it was about. It was just vague, but but I remember like it was something had to do with fabric. I think like I opened up something, a drawer or something, and it had a bunch of fabric. I don't know what, but so it was my first cross stitch dream. It was kind of weird, but I imagine I'll dream about it more often. I don't know. um, anyway, so that's I think that's it. I'm uh, I I'm gonna get my stuff ready for Stitchnanigans. My little giveaways, I think, they're finally ready to be uh, uh, for me to get them ready for the retreat. And with that out of the way, I can kind of relax and just do whatever I want now because I finished that and that's ready to go. And so I can work on my other stuff. The next thing up is BendyStitchy's Stitch Along for her birthday, which is coming up this week into next. I guess it's just this coming weekend, the 8th, 9th, and 10th, right? So, uh, that's gonna be fun, I think. And so, yeah, and so and I'm gonna get my tall ships idea ready to go, and keep working on my Stitch 9 challenge stuff, and add those 4 or 5 projects to my list for this year. Anyway, so well, I didn't do any rules imposed on myself about not starting anything this year. I was gonna try to work on my whips, and I still have some starts in my little tub of charts, things that I started that were not part of my Stitch 9 challenge list of things to finish this year. But and I'll eventually get to those. But right now, the tall ships idea is what's percolating in my mind. So I think I'm gonna work on those, at least get them started, add them to my whip pile this year. But so okay, so I think I'm done. So I will see you next time. I think I'm finished. Once again, I'm phantastitches, Elizabeth Martinez phantastitches. And I'm in the Friday Off the Grid group, and I'm on Instagram as Phantagray, PHANTAGRAE, and that's the spelling of my name for my Gmail address as well. And I'll put all that information below. That's it. Okay. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.